I really hope the audio comes through for this. I really do hope that. I don't want it to come through the microphone that's not plugged into it. Hey, what's going on? So, a few days ago I got this copy of The Wolf of Wall Street, which is not an ordinary copy. This is the Arrow Video limited edition copy from CEX, and I just felt like I had the impulse to do a review of it, because this is a film I know very well, but I've never actually held this version of it in my hand, so I thought I'd just walk you through all of the little individual things that happens with it. So, hard case, always a good sign that you're going to get a good limited edition. I love that with films in particular. And then the thing that comes out is in the shape of his wallet. It's always nice. The actual case of the film, which is the default Arrow Video 4K, that gives you two discs. One of them is the UHD, the other is the 1080 Blu-ray bonus. And you get a whole bunch of really cool things from here. So, obviously, no limited edition is complete without a book. I haven't actually read this. Maybe this is the chance I get to read all of this stuff. A business card for Stratton. And Jordan's American Express card, complete with the powder that made his country great. I'm sure I could think of a better pun in time, but that's the one I'm going with for the moment. After we get those things back in, I also noticed upon first viewing that this comes with a $100 bill with Stratton's logo in the centre of it. Don't know if you can see that. I'm having to pull focus myself because it's not on autofocus. Why do you keep the camera on manual focus? Because then I can actually pinpoint where it's going to be, and also I kind of fancy myself a focus puller. Maybe I should sign up for one of those, but I don't have enough equipment. How can I do freelance focus pulling without any gear? Or experience using the gear? Or experience using just stuff on the side of the camera? No matter. Anyway, so before I get into the book, why don't we discuss the film as a whole? Now, obviously I know this film like the back of my hand. I know it very well. Even though I never actually watched a lot of it when I was younger, I never watched it all the way through from start to finish. It was always on in the background. My dad was usually watching it, but I very rarely actually saw the beginning and the end of it. It's always random parts in the middle. It's very much like a montage. And rewatching it, first time officially, a few years ago, it was like a montage. And in that sense, it doesn't really have the strongest narrative. It is a bit random when compared to, say, Goodfellas. But having rewatched it, I could safely say that I enjoyed it. I didn't rewatch it a lot this time. This was mostly just to judge the 4K. So, is the 4K worth it? Well, on principle, no. Despite being shot on film, amazingly, by Rodrigo Prieto, I don't think that this film is worth the UHD title as much as it thinks. If you're able to get hold of the Arrow Video collection, that is just the restoration, the new bonus features, the art, not the artwork, the new bonus features, the video essays, the interviews, all that good stuff, that is really what makes this package. 4K itself looks fine, but I think my TV is doing most of the heavy lifting, as is the Blu-ray player. So don't worry too much about getting this in 4K. I imagine if you got this exact same deal with the art cards, well, there are no art cards, with the booklet, with the extras, the dollar bill and the hard case, but on 1080 Blu-ray from Arrow, that would probably be just as good of a time, because it's still going to look amazing. It's still in camera, shot on film, or mostly, with all the same bonus features across two discs. Speaking of that, the 4K Blu-ray appears to come with a few additional bonus features that you may not have seen before. Wait, does it? No, definitely hard of fearing. New introduction. New film introduction. Ian Christie, editor of Scorsese, theatrical trailer. Okay, I don't know if that's standard. If I recall correctly from the other Blu-ray, the original Blu-ray doesn't have that many bonus features on it. And most of those are featured here on the extras bonus feature disc. So either way, regardless of which one you get, you're going to get a second disc with a ton of bonus features, because it's 3 hours long. They can't cram it all into one disc. That's really what makes this film worth it. The Arrow Video version specifically. Go for that. If you can get the Arrow Video version, even if it's just a standard version, just go for that. You will have a great time. All this extra shit does make it worth it, but I think this makes it more worth it in the 4K sense. Because I bought it from CEX, and it's the only one in the company, £25. I believe on Amazon, they're trying to sell me a version of this, but the 1080 version, for £50. This is not worth that. Don't pay 50 quid for this unless it's, I don't know, 20 years in the future and it's an antique of some kind, but even then it has to be in pristine condition. Okay, so what's the consensus? Without having even read the book, you know what? I'm sure this book is great. Any Blu-ray limited edition that comes with a booklet whether it's just the artwork in the case of Interstellar, or it actually is behind the scenes stuff, absolutely worth it in my eyes. It's why I love Crash so much, because that doesn't just come with a new restoration and fully uncensored. It has a booklet that really dives into the history of making of the film. And if I just glance at this briefly, yeah, it's kind of a summary of what made the film, subtext of what it means in this culture, what it means 10 years on, all that great stuff. Fantastic. If you can get hold of a copy of this for about 25, 30 is pushing it, pounds, then absolutely go for it. The question of whether the 4K over the 1080 is worth it, I don't think so. Having said that, if you can get a 4K version for about 25 quid and the 1080 version for the same price, maybe you want to buy the 4K just to feel special. You're getting the same bonus features, you're getting the same artwork, in which case it just comes down to condition. Another thing to bear in mind, side note, I have a projector, a 1080 projector, so I can put my 4K Blu-ray through the 1080 projector. It won't affect the HDR too much, but I cannot watch 4K on my screen here at my desk. It will compress the color levels too much and it's just going to look washed out. So if flexibility of where you watch it is your concern, if you still buy physical media, I would say... That was meant to be my time. I'm up. I'm only 6 minutes in. If versatility of where you watch it is of your concern, maybe get the 1080 version. If you're not too worried about that and you have a 4K player and 4K TV and all the latest stuff, then absolutely go for this. The most important thing for me, though, is still got to be the bonus features, the booklet, and the presentation. If you can get a version with that, that is more important than anything. It's going to be at least 1080 anyway, and I recommend you don't go for DVDs these ways regardless. So, overall consensus, very cool. I might keep it. You know, I do like this film, but I'm more interested in the making of it than the actual film itself. Obviously, it's not as good as Goodfellas, and I do prefer the limited edition to Goodfellas, but that's also a much better film. So, apples and oranges, that kind of thing. Hopefully I won't have to cut this up too much. Goodbye.